This is the fastest growing social media app that you have never heard of. There is no advertising, all the socials, private Instagram, private Facebook, private Twitter, and you have to join a waitlist of over 43,000 people before they will even look at your application to join. This is the story of Clockout, one of the fastest growing social media apps that you have never heard of, and how they have used marketing psychology to their benefit to spend little to no money and grow their brand exponentially. In this video, we're going to cover how they've done it, the marketing psychology concepts that they've used, and how you can apply them into your business and personal life. So what is Clockout? Clockout is an invite-only application that connects people to other people who are successful. You can think of it as a high-priority application where only the most successful people get in, the most successful people link up and connect with other people who are also successful. And this breeds an environment where it has a lot of people who are high quality, or you would imagine are high quality, and people who have worked to get into the application. So why would anyone do this? What are the marketing concepts that have really set up Clockout for success? Because there's a million other applications that say that they're going to connect business people to business people, or social people to social people, and so on. What are the marketing concepts that have been utilized in Clockout to make it a success? And what are the driving factors that have kept people coming back for more? Well, there's four key ones that we're going to go through. The first powerful marketing concept and marketing psychology that Clockout has used and other applications have used is the idea of FOMO and fear of missing out. Fear of missing out could be used in a lot of ways, but the way that Clockout has in particularly utilized fear of missing out is through showing people who are connecting with other high value people that they can connect, and you potentially can as well if you're able to get into the application. They show an application and the insides of an application, but they won't actually let you join and see the full application. Now, this creates an anxiety in the user. It also creates a anticipation where you keep wanting to think, what would it be like to be on the other side? It must be good. It must be better. Even if there's nothing on the other side, you still want to get to the other side. And the other side of FOMO is that you may have friends, or you may have people who are of a status that you want to be around who are in the application, whereas you're not sure if you can get into the application. And that creates this longing, this desire where you want to be a part of it when you can't. And this can be utilized even in your own business by having, for example, if you have an ice cream store, having either free ice cream given out to a bunch of people, or by having celebrities at your ice cream shop, or by just having even a small concert or music, live music, or things like that that create social stories and social reels that people want to consistently talk about and makes other people who weren't there wish that they were there. The second very powerful concept that has been used by Clockout is the idea of the halo effect. And the halo effect is essentially that exclusivity creates the assumption of high value. So when you have your business, you can look at the halo effect and say, how do I make my product, for example, a jewelry brand, more exclusive? When you make it more exclusive and less people can get into it, people assume that it must be a higher quality product because it's so limited in run. Now, your product could actually be an awful product. It could be a very cheap jewelry product, but because it's exclusive, people come in with the assumption that something must be of higher value. You can also look at this as at concerts. Concerts have consistently had where they have exclusivity of very selective seats that may actually be very bad, but because the pricing is so high, people assume that those must be the best seats in the house, when a seat that is further away or even closer could actually be a better seat, but will cost less. And so the halo effect is very important, because when we look at any company, we want to have it where there's a certain level of exclusivity where people assume the higher the value of the product. The third very powerful concept in this, and when we're looking at marketing psychology, is the marketing concept of the social proof loop. And the social proof loop is essentially if you have people who are already in the application who are either higher value or higher status, and we keep coming back to status just because it's a very powerful marketing concept, you typically won't believe that the application must be good. The way that Clockout has really been able to utilize this is through having a exclusivity to get in, in, but also having an invite system. And by having that invite system, people assume the higher value of the application, but they also assume that they want to be a part of it because their friend has just invited them. This social proof loop is super important when it comes to clothing brands because people want to feel like they are a part of a larger group. When someone wears a particular product, other people who are in their friend group will typically look at that product and say, well, that must be a product that I might want to try. And the social proof loop is particularly important when it comes to social applications because there are so many applications out there that people want a pre-selection in their application choices when they're looking for an application. Another example of this social proof loop is in the concept Instagram influencers have really become very popular lately. And that is because one, they of course have a lot of reach, but there's a social proof in them recommending a product when other people follow them that makes other people typically want to purchase that product. And it may take 2 or 3 influencers in a particular niche to start getting a product flowing, but the social proof loop continues and it consistently gets stronger as you have more of those influencers. The fourth concept, and I think one of the most powerful marketing concepts that we can look at, is the idea of the Ikea marketing philosophy. And this essentially comes back to the idea that people value what they work for and what they built. If, for example, you had to work to get into an application or a social network, if you had to work at it over time and time again, you're going to value that more than if you didn't. The same thing happens when someone tries to purchase a Rolex. You can't walk typically into a Rolex store and immediately purchase it, but through building a relationship or talking to these people, and the same thing with high-end purses, you can eventually purchase it. And you start valuing it more than you would if you could have just walked in and purchased it like a regular pair of tennis shoes. And that really leads to the concept of you valuing it, using it more because you had to work for it, and you also likely talking to your friends more about it because it's taken you so much work to do. The Ikea concept comes back to the idea of people having to build things, for example, cabinets or a bed, and having to build it, and they start valuing that product more than if it just came pre-configured, which has been a very powerful concept in Ikea's marketing because people start to value their product at a higher price point than what they would have if they had just gotten the product and didn't have to build it. And we can use this in our own brands, again, going back to a jewelry brand, by making it so that someone has to either build a relationship to purchase the product, or if it is, for example, a furniture brand like Ikea, having it set up so it's in easily configurable pieces so that they build it over time and start to value it more. So these are really the powerful concepts that Clockout has used over the last year or so that has really helped it to expand rapidly. It's gotten them tons of users. Right now, I believe there are 44,000 people just in queue on almost a daily basis trying to get into the application. And it's really been powerful marketing concepts like these that have helped Clockout to grow by spending almost zero money on advertising. And I think it's a great lesson for anybody who is working to market their brand, because typically money is tight. You don't want to be spending money where you don't need to. And these marketing concepts can really push and propel your brand to the next level without spending much money. And also while producing effects that make your brand, either your personal image or your actual company, to look like it is a higher value, like it is something of high quality, and really make people value the overall sentiment behind your brand. So if you like the video, leave a like down below, and we will see you in the next video.